Sure. And by all means, call me Dave. So, yeah, so I'm a 20-year veteran of the Navy. I was a pilot and test pilot in the Navy for 20 years. Retired in 2016 and transitioned into the corporate world. Also, I'm a serial entrepreneur and started a couple small businesses. So I've started a CrossFit gym. I ran that for about 5 years. I sold that off and then moved into business coaching. So a different type of coaching. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Terry.
Definitely. It is honestly, it's my pleasure. I always love talking to professionals, especially individuals who have had that opportunity to own a business, because I think that, which with part of this series being about the professional mindset, I think you have to have that if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner. So, as everybody knows, I usually start the show for those that are watching in with kind of getting what's your definition when you think of a professional mindset?
Yeah, and I've been thinking about this a while now. So I think the key word there, and it depends on the individual and the industry and the line of work, is what is meant by professional. I think we can all agree on what mindset is. You have either a outgoing or enthusiastic mindset, or a very timid or introverted mindset, um, and so that's basically how we view the world. But the key part of that is, what does professional mean, right?
Mhm.
I mean, if I go to a doctor's office and I see, you know I see the doctor dressed up in greasy clothes like an auto mechanic, that wouldn't portray too much professionalism on the doctor's part. But if I go to a auto repair store, or a location, and I see a business coat and tie, that's also not very professional either. I would expect to see someone
Yeah.
covered in grease and oil and dirt, because that's what I would expect in that environment. So depending on the industry and the type of work or the line of work you're working in, it would depend on what professional means to you, right? Or what kind of air that you should have about you in order to portray that professionalism. In some instances, we I tend to try to temper my language depending on the audience. In the Navy, it was we're flying planes and wear flight suits, and very collegial, familiar type bonds with squadron mates and fellow pilots and stuff. So you're able to joke around a little bit, but we're all very professional,
Yeah.
um, as opposed to the corporate office setting, where maybe the opportunity to joke around and poke fun at each other and use colorful language is not as professional, right? So it would all depend on one, the like I said, the industry, the line of work that you're in, the what goals you have, as well as your upbringing.
Mhm.
If you're brought up in an environment or a culture where certain things were expected of you at certain ages, right? Then moving into a different culture or a different environment and bringing those in, you may have a hard time fitting in, right? We all talk about corporate culture, and there's also actual societal culture too. If you find yourself living in some place that you're not very comfortable being in, because you're a country person and now you're in the city, you
Yeah.
may find a hard time fitting in. Otherwise, that could be part of it too. So, long answer to your short question, Terry, is
Yeah.
professional is the key there. What is the definition of what makes you professional in your line of work and your desired field, in what you're trying to achieve for yourself, and temper that with how you were raised and how you were brought up, your morals, your values, your goals, your ethics. um, and I think that's where a lot of people have struggles. We talk about having a midlife crisis or whatever. I know we're kind of
Right.
getting there along the tooth, and that's because we've had children, we've had life experiences, and that
Yes.
that changes our goals and values. So now we're looking at different things for ourselves in the professional realm, and
Yeah.
now we just have to put ourselves in that mindset to match what we want for ourselves professionally. So I know it's not really a direct answer, but I think it depends on what you're trying to do for yourself, and you have to
Yeah.
match what it is that you're trying to get, and become professional in that field. So
Well, I actually appreciate your definition because, again, with the show, I often find that people have a different definition of it.
yeah.
And again, I want to remind everybody that's watching and listening that there is no definitive, right? It is up to what you feel is going to make you be the best person you can be. And it's interesting, you use the example of moving from the country to the city. Well, I grew up in a relatively small town.
Mhm.
So for me, when I had an opportunity to, move to a larger city, I didn't experience culture shock in sense because I grew up approximately 2 hours from DC, so I'd been there, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But it was still different, because my first real experience was moving from West Virginia to Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yeah.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
That's a very big change. And, you're talking about culture, you're talking about, how do people approach different situations, right? And like you said, it's that professional, it's that ability in my, again, estimation, that with a mindset is being able to adapt to that
Mhm.
situation. So I love what you were saying there. Now, one of the other questions I have for you is, for you, again, especially having been a business owner,
Mhm.
how has your professional mindset for you played a part in your career?
Yeah, that's a great question. And as a business owner, when I was still on active duty Navy,
Hmm.
when I had my first business, so it was always a constant shift of, okay, I need to turn that shift, or that flip that switch in
Hmm.
my Navy job. Now I'm actually, I started a CrossFit gym is what my business was. So wearing a uniform
Hmm.
would not be very professional in the gym setting. So,
Yeah.
dressing down in a t-shirt and sweatpants and athletic shoes to coach classes and coach people on workouts and stuff. That was there was a little bit of a transition
Hmm.
time. You have to get in the mode, and establishing routines, I think, is key.
Hmm.
um, and being able to put yourself through the physical paces of, okay, this is what I got to do. I need to change into this. I'm going to fold my uniform up. I'm going to put it away. I'm going to put on my sweatpants and put on my shirt, and getting that right mindset, and that portrays that professionalism. So especially in that, we, even in the Navy, when I was flying planes,
Hmm.
um, the the time that you are flying and getting ready to prepare for a flight, that was sacred time. Um, and we used to call it the bubble, right?
Hmm.
And you would see people, and we would brief for a flight a few hours before the actual takeoff time, and we get into that mindset. We talk about what we're trying to do. We talk about the mission of what the flight was going to be, and you have some dead time where you can go to the bathroom and get a snack for the flight or whatever.
Yeah.
And you would have people coming up to you and say, "Hey, Dave, I need you to sign this," and you would just say, "Hey, I'm in my bubble,"
Yeah.
right? And they would automatically know, okay, he's getting in that mindset to go prepare to get on a plane and fly, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's part of the routine, and getting in the physical actions and the physical activities of getting your brain and your body prepared to be professional in whatever it is you're going to do.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's key no matter what you do, right? I mean, everyone has a bubble. It could be hours, it could be a few minutes, it could be a matter of seconds, right? So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
that's the key. I think the body mind connection is very key. That we talk about mindset, but there's also a physical part of things too. Like if
Hmm.
I were to, I'm sure you probably experienced it too. If you have a morning routine and something
Yes.
interrupts it, and you walk out the door and you're like, I feel like I'm forgetting something, right?
Yes.
What is it?
Yes.
Like, oh, well, I'll just go out by my day, and you're like, oh, you know what? I forgot my coffee on the counter.
Yeah. Yeah. No, very
So
important thing too.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, that's something just as simple as that. I mean, you can scale that to a doctor going in surgery, right?
Yes.
Like you
Mhm.
don't want a doctor forgetting something.
Oh my goodness, no.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it's very scalable, and that's how I see things of how I've used, first of all, defining what professional looks like for the task that I'm doing,
Hmm.
and what do I need to prepare myself both mentally and physically to be able to do that, right?
Hmm.
So that's how I've used professional mindset and routines and physical activity, or going through actions to prepare myself to both mentally and physically, saying, okay, this is my bubble for checking my email, or this is my
Yeah.
bubble for going to the doctor's office or whatever, right?
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful view of it. And, and I want to, again, and I try to always do this, I want to thank you for your service,
Oh, sure,
because
sure.
I didn't say that first, but, I think that what you and your, servicemen and women do for us as people is excellent. So thank you again for that. Now, why do you think the professional mindset, why do you think it's important for people to use in his or her daily life? I think you just
Yeah.
provided some good examples, but why do you think it's so important for people to look at?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the bottom line is it ensures success.
Hmm.
I mean, I think as all human beings, 7, 8 billion of us in the world,
Right.
we all have a innate desire to succeed at what we're trying to do.
Mhm.
And I think people who don't succeed just haven't found the right combination of professional mindset with what they're doing, as far as a career or activity or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
like some people are just not cut out to be doctors. Some people are just not cut out to be, military or professors or that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So just because you've tried something and failed at it doesn't mean that you're a total failure. You just haven't found
Right.
that good combination of what it is that you think is professional, your correct mindset, and the actual thing that you're trying to accomplish. So, um, it is very important, because it's like a vicious, three-legged stool.
Hmm.
One of the legs are short, the stool's going to fall over.
Yeah.
And
True.
then so to be able to have that right balance of, okay, this is my professional mindset, this is what I like doing,
Hmm.
and this is what I have innate skills and abilities, that defines success for people. So
Hmm.
it's I guess you can boil it down to, that's the life journey, is trying to find that, and some people find it quicker than others, some people never find it,
Yeah.
right? And some
Yeah.
people have fun finding trying to find it. So
Yeah. Wow. I love what you just shared there, because, I think that I, this is just my view of it. I
yeah.
think sometimes that it's ingrained in us that if we don't find it by our 20s, we're never going to find it. And again, I shared with you a story about myself prior to the us starting the show, and I may not have found it yet, but you know what? I love, like you said, it's that journey,
Yeah.
trying to find it. And for me, I think part of finding it is being able to help others. That's just
Yeah.
me. That's kind of helping me, right? And I think that we definitely have to remember that just because we fail at something doesn't mean that it's the end result, right?
Exactly.
I believe that it's okay. Actually, sometimes I believe it's good to fail,
Oh yeah,
because it allows us to learn, right? And
exactly.
it allows us to think differently about things and how we can approach it going on. So I
Yeah.
love that. Who's been an influence on your definition of what a professional mindset is?
I would have to say, the ultimate influence I've had in my life is my father. I mean, he was in the
Hmm.
Navy as well, and he was a very senior, person in the Navy on the enlisted side of the ranks, and people looked up to him all the time, and he was very authentic in his thing, and he was very forthcoming in how he does things, and he
Hmm.
didn't compromise his own integrity to bend to senior leaders. He would just feel free to stand up for himself and what he thought was the best for his troops and his sailors, right?
Yeah.
So I took a lot of that on board when I joined the military as well. And it's not about me; it's about
Hmm.
them, right? And what is best for them. And so that has been a really big influence on my professional, or yeah, professional and personal journey.
Yeah.
Is, don't make it all about like what it is for my success, because there's people that help me. If I ensure that
Absolutely.
they're successful, then I will in turn be successful as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I love that. And that's wonderful that you had that individual that was able to help, and you were able to listen to it to help, because some of us go against it, right? We will do everything we can to
That's
not
yeah.
be that person, right? Or like our parents, we want to do everything we can. But the funny part is, like for me, I always swore that I would never be involved with the educational world, because while my mother was a receptionist at a high school, I got to see that world. I was able to see that world. And I said, nah, that'll never be me. I'll never be involved in. Here we are.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, be careful what you wish for, right?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but no, it sounds like you had a great influencer, and that's wonderful. Now, from that perspective, if you're talking to somebody that really doesn't have that professional mindset, you're interacting with them. Um, how have you helped someone in that particular situation get to or find their mindset for them?
Yeah, and that's a great question. It's a give and take game,
Hmm.
balancing act. First of all, the other person, as a coach, the other
Hmm.
person has to be receptive to feedback and receptive to coaching. You can
Yes.
only lead a horse to water, and you can't make them drink, right? The old
Yeah.
adage.
Hmm.
So first of all, just is one thing I use with my clients in coaching is the four stages of learning. You
Hmm.
don't you don't know what you don't know, right? And
Hmm.
making that
Absolutely.
awareness of saying, hey, I've noticed you're doing this, and in this industry or line of work, this is how we typically do things. And
Hmm.
then say, oh, I wasn't aware of that. Like, thank you for pointing that out. I'll try to do better. And that's like the ideal first conversation. You know,
Hmm.
otherwise it's like, well, I don't really care. Like,
Hmm.
okay, well, that's a first red flag that they're not going to be receptive to any further feedback, right? And so you go along the four stages of learning. Now you're aware of what you don't know,
Hmm.
right? And it's more of like, okay, what should I do now? And as a mentor, guide, coach, you start showing that other person, okay, this is what we do, this is how we do things, this is my technique, you know
Hmm.
how I would handle the situation. And then now you move on to that next stage where you're consciously trying to adapt into that new mindset or culture or whatever you want to call it. And
Hmm.
then the last stage of learning is basically it's subconscious. You're just like,
Yeah.
I know it, and I'm doing it on a daily basis, and I'm going through my routine, and it's more of like second nature to me. So the first step is very key, just making the person aware and
Hmm.
saying, hey, you're showing to work, and you're disheveled looking, you're not showered, you smell bad, whatever it is. And it's affecting work in this situation, because this is how it affects customers or clients or coworkers. And see what the response is. As a mentor and a coach, you kind of gauge that and say, okay, I can proceed down the path of learning with this person, and
Hmm.
guide them along. And that's a two-way street too.
Yeah.
As someone who's been there and done that, you should be able to take a pause and say, okay, well, this guy is, or this girl is messing someone up. Let me show them, as opposed to, I'm just going to keep letting that person do and
Hmm.
keep messing up that situation, and see what happens. That's not a very
Yeah.
cool situation either. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that definitely. Well, I tell you what, we're going to be running out of time here in a second, but what I
Sure.
wanted to do is, of course, you're one of our regional vice presidents at American Heritage College. And what I'd love to do is to give you an opportunity to maybe share, ultimately, from what you've been discussing, how American Heritage College can help those out there that need the guidance and support.
Yeah, yeah, and so obviously being part of American Heritage College, working with fine folks like yourself, Terry, and
Oh, thank you.
other other folks like myself, I think we're all along the same lines as far as professional mindset, helping other people, achieve their goals,
Hmm.
figuring out what the students want, and putting them in that correct mindset in order to achieve that success, kind of what I've alluded to
Yes.
earlier, and matching their innate skills, what they want, what they how they want to achieve success in their lives, and then putting that in a nice good melting pot for them together to achieve their dreams and goals, right?
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, and I tell you, one of the nice parts about it is, myself, and I know you and several others, for those individuals that would like to look at maybe becoming a professional career coach with American Heritage College, an American English as a second language faculty member, or just to become a professional knowledge broker for yourself. Beginning on June 22nd, we're going to be offering a boot camp, and we're sending individual invites. So if there's anyone out there that would like to be invited to it, uh, leave us a message on, whether it be YouTube, where this is of course streamed live, and also Facebook, so we can get you an invite, because we believe that there are a lot of great people out there. There are a lot of you out there that want to make a difference, just like Dave, and we want to be able to help you with that. So check us out. Okay, message us if you want. Just look for the event, right? If you're not ready to commit to becoming a career coach yet, and you want to just kind of get a little idea, we will be streaming it. Okay, so you have a way. But anyway, uh David, I would like to thank you again for being here with me. It's wonderful. And if you've got any last words of advice you'd like to share with anybody, it is yours. And if not, we will end the day.
Oh yeah, that it's enjoy the journey is all I have to say.
There we go. See, I love
Enjoy
it.
the
I
journey.
love it. It is simple. Simple, my friends. Enjoy
Yep.
the journey. All right. Well, David, thank you again. And everyone out there, I hope you, after you tune into this, you'll reach out to us, or you'll continue to watch every week. So thank you very much.